Well, as you can see, we are line astern, 2x2. This is Group 4, and I'm sure, John, you're very familiar with quite a few of the cars out there, or have seen them in the past. Coming here, you can see we've got a 63 Corvette with a split rear window. Very famous, of course, or well-known these days. And, yes, a bunch of Chevrolets, Brabhams, Bizzarinis, Porsches, Chevrons, Lotus, Shelbys, all here in Group 4, and this is a great group. Really enjoy this one. If you want to see the real heart of American historic racing, here it is, right in front of you, because you've kind of got a real smorgasbord of different cars from different eras, but we look at cars from 63 to 68 FIA sports and prototypes, and 63 to 69 SCCA production sports cars. So, you know, we really are getting a combination here, which is rare actually in one group, of, you know, outright racing cars and also production-built racing cars.
Well, these cars I recognize because in 1963, there was a Ferrari 250 GTO that won the Daytona 3-hour.
Yep.
And a year later, my dad found it and purchased it for $12,000.
I'm always intrigued how you find these things.
A local car dealer in San Francisco bought the car from Chinetti after it had run at Daytona, both Daytona and Sebring, and asked my dad if he'd be interested in buying it. I think the price was $13,500, and my dad said, no, that's too much.
Okay.
So eventually the deal went for $12,000 if the car were painted blue, which they did. They painted it blue. And my father was very tall and really didn't fit in the car, and gave it to me and said, if you'd enjoy working on it and helping me fix it up, it's yours to do. So that helped me.
Yeah, no kidding.
That really helped me learn about cars and racing.
We're also joined in the booth by Bert Skidmore, who's been with us yesterday as well, and I know he too likes a good look at Group 4, works with Intrepid Racing, which prepares a lot of the cars that you see in action today. So welcome, Bert, again. Have you got any skin in the game in this one?
I don't, and thanks for having me announce with you guys. It's great. It's a good time. What a great group, though. That little Chevron that's up front, the B16, what a wonderful little car. You know, probably weighs about 1,400 pounds, 1,200 pounds, and has close to 300 horsepower. It's a gregreat group.
Yeah, that's Gare Ramleth, who we saw at the beginning there, from California, and yeah, leading the way in that Lotus 23B. We've got several 23s, and very popular here in the States with the 23Bs. I bet if Chapman were around today, he'd be making a fortune.
Are there any original drivers driving these cars?
Not that I know of from sort of the day, as it were. We've obviously got some good names. Dave Hagan out there. It's Rob Walton, obviously, is out there. He was in action yesterday, too. So there's guys that... Charles Nurberg's another one. Well, there's guys that we well know in the historic side. But no, I don't think any of the, you know, the drivers of the day, per se. John Fudge is out there too, another.
What was Rob Walton driving? I thought he was
in his birdcage yesterday.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know what he's today in this group. Let me see.
He has a 26R Lotus.
Yeah, he's got a 26R. That's exactly what he's in. The 66 26R. Yeah. There's that Corvette from '63. Patrick Byrne. He and his dad here this weekend.
In the mix with that Porsche. There's a good battle going on there.
So, both of you, talk a little bit about what interested you, what cars interested you when you first kind of got into this whole game, because there's got to be something that really pricks your interest and says, and then that leads to a bigger, wider.
I told you the story about the 250 GTO. So I'm 16 years old. My dad has this car. He said, George, work on it, fix it up, learn the craft, so to speak. And along with the car, we got a lot of spares, and more importantly, we got large posters from Sebring and Daytona. So as a kid, I'm sitting in his garage looking at the posters, sitting in Pedro Rodriguez's Ferrari, and starting to dream, which is always a danger, right?
Always. Nothing wrong with dreaming.
So by the time I got to 20 years old, I thought, well, maybe my dad would let me go to driving school. And yeah, start racing. Of course, he said no. So I had to wait till I was 22, I think. I went to Bondurant's.
Yep.
And then I did the 4 showroom stock sedan races. And then my next race, I think, was at the Daytona 250, Paul Revere IMSA race.
Wow, you moved quick.
Yeah, I'd never driven at night, and I'd never been on a big oval. And here I am.
That's wild. Very wild. How about yourself, Bert?
I started racing in midgets, oval track for a short period of time.
Dirt?
And then, on pavement.
On pavement,
yeah,
midgets,
with wings,
okay.
yeah. And then started vintage racing, went to a couple of driving schools, Bondurant, and here at Sears Point, that's where it was. Started driving a Lotus 18 Formula Junior, and then quickly got to drive the Lotus 79 John Player Special, the Andretti championship winning car, for 4 or 5 years. Good time.
Oh, no question.
Yeah.
I love hearing that story because so many go to Skip Barber or to Bob Bondurant. And yeah, I've done it myself. And yeah, it's a great day, or a couple of days if you choose, and a great way to learn in a good environment, a safe environment. And that's the important thing. We've got a great battle here between Lyon and Rosenthal in the 23X. Rosenthal in that Chevron 9069 all red 23X. But it's Ramleth and Byrne out front. Ramleth with a 4-second lead as we look high above. That Corvette leading this group of 3. And at the back of that is Rosenthal.
The Corvette's got his hands full.
Yeah. No kidding.
Those guys are breathing down his neck. That Chevron can get stuck behind cars, and as he is, I think if he could get out in front, he could probably pull away from these guys. The 23B right there is doing a good job.
Yep. We've got several 23Bs out there, 63, 62, 262s in fact, and 263s.
Did Lotus 23 win the race yesterday? I think he did.
I'm going to have to look that up for you, but I will do. My memory's good, but not that good. Hang on a second.
They were driving the wheels off that thing.
Yeah. So, of course, if you weren't with us yesterday, they did a full day of racing for the groups. And yeah, yesterday it was once again, it was actually Gunnar Jeanette.
Oh, there you go, yeah.
Jonathan Rosenthal, who's leading, who's in 4th at the moment, was 2nd. And Gare Ramleth, who's leading at the moment, was 3rd, ahead of Nick Colonna and Seth Burgett. So, yeah, that's the answer to your question. Patrick Byrne was 7th, and he's currently in 2nd at the moment in the 17.
What a great race these guys are doing. They're close together.
Oh, it's great. This is our Group 4. And like I said, does combine rarely the purpose-built race cars with the production sports cars of the same era. And we kind of refer to this era as a transitioning era for the FIA. You've got GT production cars coming through and then straight-out racing cars. So the class contains FIA Group 4. There's even the GT40s, of course, from 4.
Look at the Porsche going for it.
Around the
outside.
outside.
It's a long way around. It's a long way around. Here we go. I don't know if he can. Oh, well,
yeah, he's got it.
Oh, I think the Corvette might have a problem.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, he's accelerating away,
wow.
but
that was a great
nice
move. That was a great move.
Nicely done.
Yeah.
But tell us about what Intrepid do.
So we work on vintage race cars. Anything. We take care of a lot of Ferraris. We've got D-type Jaguars. In fact, we have the Le Mans winning D-type in our possession right now that we've done a bunch of work on. C-type Jaguars. In fact, the car that Nick Price has, Nick Price is driving the C-type. We did the engine in that car. We did the Testarossa gearbox and rear end that Jensen Button's driving.
Oh, right.
Yep. And
Has that had a lot of work to do? I was asking James Alder if he's spoken to Jensen about what he's doing, because obviously he's got it to his liking now, because you can see the way he's driving it. He's not holding back.
Yeah. No, it's good. I tell you what, I mean, on TRs with drum brakes and spoke wheels, it's tough to keep the wheels on it and the brakes on it.
Yeah.
You know, the next year, the TR59 went to disc brakes, and what a difference the car was. But the pontoon fender car is still, what a great car to drive.
Okay. And George, have you had, over the years, a chance to drive any of these types of cars out here on Group 4?
I raced the 250 GTO Ferrari only once at Laguna Seca at one of Steve Earle's events. He started the historic racing in 1974, and I think we were there.
He's owned a few of these cars as well over the years,
Yeah, Steve bought my my RSR, and then subsequently I think Paul Newman bought it. It's been through a lot of hands. Bobby Rahal has owned it.
Wow.
Jim Farley has owned it.
That's a
CEO of Ford. Driving a Porsche.
Your price is going up by the minute.
Well, Bruce Canepa called me and said, George, you want to buy your Sebring winning RSR back? I said, absolutely. And then he told me the price.
The price, and you went, ah.
And I said, well, Bruce, I sold it for $38,000, thinking I made a killing, because I think back then the cars were about $28,000.
What's it worth?
Well, I think, and I don't know this for sure, but I think the last buyer bought it for close to $2 million.
Wow.
Yeah. It was offered to me at 1.1.
Amazing. Yeah. We've been talking about the fabled Le Mans film number 20, 917, that's coming up for auction in January in Florida. And I was talking to Brian Redman, who drove it originally with Joe Siffert, about it, and he owned it for a while. Richard Atwood owned it, another driver of that era. And of course, Steve McQueen owned it after the filming of Le Mans. It then went into the hands of Jerry Seinfeld. So, a similar kind of, and they're talking about, well, crazy numbers for what it might be worth because of its storied history, the film, and what it means to so many people, and the colors, the Gulf colors, synonymous with that era.
Well, when I tell people that I started in a 250 GTO that cost $12,000, the next question is, well, what did you sell it for?
Yeah, exactly.
And of course, we had it for 30 years and sold it for the then record price. I think we sold it in the late 80s. You know, everybody talked about the record GTO, price of what, $3.5 million. Which is a lot of money. But now I've heard, what, 60 million maybe? Yeah.
Crazy numbers. 20 million, 30 million, you name it. Now, this is an interesting car, this one here. This is, well, it's an ex-rally car, isn't it?
Is it
an Alpine?
Simca?
Yeah, I think it's a little Alpine.
Yes.
Yeah, it's an A10 GRP Rally Alpine from 1972. And this is a Berlinette Group 4 factory built. And like I said, the Alpine A110 was built in Dieppe, France, and it's built by a former race driver and Renault dealer, Jean Ridel, who raced it from 1961 to 1977. And one of a small number of factory-prepared cars and designed to compete in the Group 4 Rally Series. So there you go. Don't often see a rally car out there, but...
Did the Corvette get back in front? I think it did.
What, of Ramleth?
Yeah.
No, Ramleth's leading. That battle was, I think, for third.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, okay.
So it's just a little further back. But here's your leader on lap 7th, Geir Ramleth.
Guy's flying.
Oh, yeah. And, of course, as we all know, Colin Chapman designed the 23B, as he did so many lightweight, small bore cars and small displacement sports cars. And it was a two-seater at first, but again, was built for that FIA Group 4 racing between 62 and 63. Now, that number 80 is another special car, but I was looking at that, and that was hooning around earlier this weekend in practice, and it took my eye. It's the Mustang Shelby GTO 500 from 67.
Yeah, GT 500, yes. What a great car.
And according to its bio, it's a rare Shelby that's perhaps the longest road race history of any GT 500, dating back to 1969, and it's participated in the likes of Sebring in 71 and 72, and also has been raced every decade of its life since 1969. So it really is a real thoroughbred.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. And sounds fantastic as well if you get to see it fly by.
Yeah. This little 23B's got a 1600cc engine and all that. What is that GT 500? Is that a 5-liter?
Yeah. What about working on these smaller cars? I mean, presumably you can just pull the bodies off and you can get right to them, right? And which is a real plus in your game, right?
Yeah, they're very, very easy to work on.
Yeah, it was interesting talking to the rally guys earlier. They were saying that the more modern the rally cars, the harder it is to work on because of all the electronics.
Yes, exactly.
So, yeah, it sounds as though you get a modern car, it would be easy, but not always the case. That 88 you were watching there, that's the Porsche 910. Don't often get too many 910s. That's a 67 910 in white from 1971. Chassis number 22. And was sent from the factory to Edinburgh in San Jose. And it raced pretty much throughout the SCCA here in California, but also at Watkins Glen and Daytona.
Pretty special car.
Yeah, it's had a very busy time, as it were. So coming to the end of this lap and this race, because we did get the one-lap board. And here is Ramleth, your leader, coming out of the...
Porsche's trying hard.
Yeah, he's trying to get it with him, isn't he?
He's only got a few more corners to make it happen.
Well, this is where the little car gets a little bit more of an advantage, doesn't it?
Going through the S's, yeah.
And this is the kind of essence of American racing. The smaller cars, nimble through the twisty bits, but in a straight line, of which there are not many here at Laguna. At Sonoma. But now there you see, that was his last chance. Really, he's going to try down the inside. He's going for it. Oh, hold on.
Almost.
Oh, he might still just turn in.
It's going to be a drag race to the end.
Drag race to the end. A photo finish. This is the final lap. Oh, wonderful stuff. Group 4 doesn't disappoint. The Lotus does get it.
That's awesome.
More grunt than we thought, perhaps. But that is, well, that was played out, George, each and every weekend here in California, wasn't it?
That was
great.
great.
Back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Love it. Absolutely fantastic.
Great stuff.
So what else have you got that's coming up that you've prepared or had some work to do on?
We've got a Lola T70 that actually should have been in this group, it wasn't. And then we've got a Devon SS.
Oh, nice.
That's coming up, yeah. So
yes, I've seen that.
Yeah, good car, yeah. And then we're done.
Well, George, thank you for coming in.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
we're working on my
it's always
car.
nice to have a, yeah.
I don't think we'll run this afternoon.
Okay.
We're having some CD
Well, come
box
back and talk
issues.
tell us, regale us about the Sebring 12 hours. It's not often we get a luminary like yourself coming in.
Yeah, my first time at Sebring, I finished second overall to Brian Redman.
Oh, well,
And
that's not a
Stuck
bad
and all
accolade
those-
either.
Yeah, it was great. Been there
And
twice.
he was what, in a Lola? Or would he be
No,
in?
they were there in the BMW.
Oh, right, okay, with David Hobbs?
No, Brian Redman, Sam Posey.
Okay.
And then Stuck and Alan Moffat.
That's
Actually, I think it was Redman Moffat in the
Yeah.
24, and then Posey and Stuck in the 25.
well, if you're starting to hang out with company like that, you know
Yeah,
what
they
you're
beat
doing.
us. They beat us by 5 laps after 12 hours.
Well, you see, no, we won't make that part of the story. Listen, to finish that race in any top 10 position, to finish that race, full stop, is an achievement in itself, and that's rarefied air, no question. No question.
Yeah, in 77, my co-driver got heat stroke. There's 2 of us in the car.
Oh, no.
He got heat stroke.
So you had to do the whole race?
I drove 8 hours. It was hot like it is this weekend.
Oh.
That's a challenge.
And a lot more humidity.
Not a lot of fun. Well, you've been listening to Bert Skidmore and George Dyer, who thankfully have given up their time to come in and join us. But enjoy the rest of your day. Stay out the heat if you can.
We will.
I hope you don't have no fingers crossed for no mechanicals.
There you go.
But guys, thanks for coming in. Feel free to come back if you've got a story or two you want to share. But that concludes our Group 4 race. But more great racing to come. Let's just confirm our result on that one. Gary Ramleth then in the 23B wins ahead of Bill Lyon in the 910 Porsche. Michael Sweeney Jr. in the Lotus 23B ahead of Dave Hagan in the 67 Porsche. Then Patrick Byrne, Campbell, Burgett. Paddings Dowling, hardly mentioned him this weekend, but a very, very well-known racing driver of historics. Paddings Dowling, seen him at the historic at Monaco, and he just took his Lotus 23B to 8th. Randy Hill 9th, and Dan Wise, all again in Lotus 23B's. My thanks to our guests. We'll take a short break here from Velocity Invitational, and we'll bring you more from the mighty Sonoma Raceway. after this.